You're welcome.
So is there any public comment on items not on today's agenda? Okay, I would add just the only announcement I would make is that on Tuesday afternoon, we had our first convening of the Big Sky Passenger Rail Authority Board of Directors, and I was, as it turns out, appointed to be the interim chair of the authority until we do formal nominations and selections of the authority officers at a future meeting. So we are off to the races.
Excellent, Dave.
It's been a team effort by many of us on the line here today. So thank you all, other commissioners and staff who all played a role in that. So, okay, we'll dive right into our agenda. Our first one, which is an exciting one, is brought to us by our very own Nancy Rattel. This relates to a letter of support for a grant application related to the Lalonde Ranch. Nancy.
All right. Good morning, commissioners. Nancy Rattel, item number 1. Yeah, speaking about, off to the races, I am gate number 1. So this is just a standard letter of support. As you know, we'll be submitting a grant application to the Montana History Foundation next week to hire a consultant, if we are funded, to help with the nomination process for the National Register of Historic Places for Lalonde Ranch.
Great.
Okay.
When do we find out if we're funded?
I think this spring.
Okay.
And maybe this is a question for Chris or anyone else on the line. I don't typically, do we actually have a formal vote on correspondence like this? It doesn't matter to me one way or another. Nancy, thoughts?
Well, so yeah, I know. I was debating whether is it just standard correspondence, but in this grant application, there is no actual application form. So I thought this letter of support would serve 2 purposes: a letter of support, which we need to upload with additional letters, but then also because there will be match money involved, I thought it was important to have it as an administrative documentation, because otherwise it is really just correspondence, but it's kind of serving multiple purposes. And I thought, well, we better cross the T's and dot the I's.
Okay, we can do that. What do you think, Juanita?
Great. Cross those T's and dot I's. I move to sign the letter.
Okay, I'll second that. Any further discussion from anyone on this? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, thanks, Nancy.
Thank you.
And if I'm not mistaken, I think we are going to delay item number 2, since we were unable to get the associated documents with this item available for public review prior to today's meeting. Is that correct, Annie?
Yes, it will be postponed. We will hear it on Tuesday, January 12th, admin.
Okay, great, thanks. So sorry if anyone was here for item 2, but we are postponing that till next week. So with that, we've got a whole slew of items. In fact, I believe items 3 through 10 that John Stegmeyer will be presenting to us. And I would recommend that John, if you wanted to just run through all of these, and unless there's any one of these that is highly contentious, we could just dispense with all of these in one motion. So John?
Sure, that makes good sense. We can do that. I believe there's 8 total, and I just lost my agenda, so I might need a little prompting in the order. I believe Sealy Lions is the first.
Yes, that is it.
Okay, and I'll see if I can retrieve that real quickly. So these are all Parks and Trails matching grants. This is our annual matching grant program where we solicit projects from our communities. We tend to try to engage more heavily users, applicants outside of the urban area, just because the city does offer some reciprocal grant programs for park development. So we try hard to get projects to come in from outside of Missoula. We got a lot of applications this year. In fact, probably the largest request cycle we've had in the vicinity of about $80,000 competing for about $46,000. Our park board tried really hard to review applications and fund as many projects as possible. And the strategy they used for that was to find aspects of the project that were the closest fit to our program and selectively fund those items, therefore being able to fund quite a few projects with the available funds. A little background there. So the first project is Sealy Lake Lions Club. They are going to be our official, they have been our site stewards at Clearwater Park in Sealy Lake for the last several decades. They will be soon entering into an agreement with the county for maintenance and management. And these funds are really to help them launch into some developments of that park. It is a widely used park for Sealy and particularly that neighborhood. And the Lions have some new leadership and they are ready to engage on that site even more and kind of double down their investment. So we as a program are very excited to be partnering with them, and our board was enthusiastic to back this grant for them. So that's Sealy Lions. Any questions on that one?
Nope.
Nope.
Okay. Can you prompt me on the next one?
Yes, this would be Veterans Memorial Site.
Another project in Sealy Lake. This is the Veterans and Families of Sealy Lake. They have that small but very well maintained little memorial. It's on a little piece of county property right on the north end of Sealy. As you drive by, there's kind of an array of kiosks with placards hanging that have names of vets in Sealy. They are looking to, they're actively working to upgrade that site, put some, a different type of placard that will endure weather longer, and then put a roof over that facility. So we have appreciated kind of developing a stronger relationship with these guys, and our board, they were looking for a little larger award. Our board recommended $2,500 for their project.
A roof over like the entire corner, or just a roof over the sign? I guess I don't understand.
Yeah, they'll put, so if you can kind of envision, they have their kiosks with the plaques. They want to cover that and shield that from the elements. Okay. So it would just be the memorial installation.
Great. So the next item is, it looks like a
Travelers Rest.
Travelers Rest, yes.
Okay. This project was submitted by Travelers Rest Connection, which is the Friends advocacy group and fundraising group for Travelers Rest State Park. This is a really interesting project that the county has been a partner with for the last couple of years. The particular part of the project that the county would help fund through this grant is the construction of a accessibly designed trail that would link the Bitterroot Trail right near Lolo Creek into Travelers Rest State Park. So it's effectively providing another pedestrian access to the park. The trail also will have some landings on it for a couple of art installations, and those are going to be commissioned with a separate grant from the National Endowment for the Arts and in art installations created by Native American artists. So it's a pretty cool project that has a number of different benefits. One would be another access for probably the community to get into the park without having to go all the way to the main entrance. And then an added feature on the Bitterroot Trail, recognizing the significance of Travelers Rest as not just an encampment for Lewis and Clark, but also a Native American encampment as well.
Oh, this is fantastic. I'm really excited about this one.
Yeah, thank you. So next we have Potomac Greeno Community Center.
Potomac Greeno Community Center. This is a group that the park board through grants has supported for a number of years, mainly because the county doesn't have park and trail facilities of our own in that valley. What's there and is most significant to the community is the school and community center campus as far as having recreation facilities. And therefore, we've tried to do our best to support the projects they bring forward, whether that be from the school or in this case from the community center. This project, they had several parts. One was to purchase some pre-kindergarten play equipment, to install some wall padding for safety inside of the gym, and then to insulate the gym for sound dampening and energy efficiency. Our board decided to fund the play equipment and the wall padding, but exclude the insulation from our funding based on the closeness of fit to our purpose and our program as primarily an outdoor recreation program. So that's Potomac Greeno. Any questions on that one?
No.
All right, and I did find my agenda. Seeley Lake Rocks is next. Seeley Lake Rocks is an organization we've worked with on this project the past 3 years now. They have done a really great job getting a community ice skating rink on the school campus. This is a continuation of enhancements and improvements to that facility. They had requested a little bit larger grant with the possibility of purchasing equipment. So they wanted to do kind of a pads and skates rental library. Our board was not comfortable with that. However, was interested in helping to fund some of the other equipment needs for lights, hoses, and other things just to kind of run the ice part of it, and recommend a $2,700 grant for them.
Thanks.
All right, 9 Mile Community Center is the next grant. This is another group that we've worked with for a long time and supported through our program, based on the fact that it has a park-like function for that part of the county, for the 9 Mile community. They always do an excellent job with their projects and reporting and recognition of the county. And for those reasons, our board wanted to continue to support them with a modest grant of $1,369 for perimeter fencing to help delineate their property and make sure that guests who attend events there would stay within the community center property and not stray onto the neighboring area. So our board was comfortable giving them a small award for that purpose. Questions on that one? Okay.
Nope.
Next one is Upper Linda Vista Homeowners Association. We have a partnership with them, with that association, for maintenance of several county parks in the Upper Linda Vista neighborhood. There was a sand volleyball court that fell into moderate to limited use and disrepair, and the HOA board voted to remove that court. We had issues last year with nesting sand wasps on that. So for a number of reasons, the HOA recommended removing that from Kelsey Park and asked for some matching funds to help with that project, and our board did approve that. The second one is also from that same organization. They submitted 2 grants to us this year. Their other one was for a replacement irrigation pump at Bridge Park, another county park. Our board did not recommend that project. With this HOA, they have their own RSID for funding some of this operating costs and maintenance. A lot of their parks are irrigated and maintained at a higher level of service standards than many of our sites. We are fine with that, but are trying to work with them to make sure that they have the means to fund the level of service that they're looking for. So in this case, and given that this park doesn't really have a high public access component, it's kind of a center courtyard, if you will, surrounded by homes. Our board decided to support their sand volleyball court removal project and did not recommend funding the pump replacement. And I brought that to you because our explanation to the applicants is that all projects and all recommendations will ultimately come to the commission. So those are all of the grants and the recommendations from the advisory board.
Yeah,
Okay.
thanks, John. This is all good stuff, and I think highlights the fact that we do put a tremendous amount of effort into parks and outlying areas, or organizations that support recreational activities in outlying areas, contrary to the erroneous assumption that some folks have that all of their tax dollars simply flow into the Missoula Valley. So thanks for your work.
Sure.
Well, I motion to award items 3 through 10.
Okay, with the note that item 10 is actually a not a
Oh,
recommendation, but that's
Items
okay.
3 through 9 with, we'll do items 3 through 9. And then a second one for 10.
Or we can do 10 too, and just move items 3 through 10.
Thank you.
Okay.
Move items 3 through 10.
Okay, I will second that. Any further discussion or public comment? All in
Last
favor?
thing I'll note
Oh.
is that
Go ahead, John.
communications did a great job getting a media release put together that will go out today, I believe is the plan. So hopefully we'll get some coverage. We typically, depending on the news cycle, which happens to be a little heavy at this time, we usually get coverage, but we'll see. This week's been fairly busy in the news, but hopefully we'll get a little bit of coverage. And as you mentioned, Dave, the Pathfinder has been a nice help in letting people know in Sealy and Swan about these programs and the contribution from the county. So I'm optimistic that they'll take interest.
Very good, thanks. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, thanks, John.
Thank you, guys. Have a good one.
You bet. All right, so Kyla, are you handling the appointments to the Aquatic Invasive Species District Board?
I am. So today before you, we're going to do some board appointments. This is a fairly new board that we need to appoint members to. We had 6 of the current members who helped establish the board and write bylaws submit resignation letters. So we need to appoint 9 regular members. 2 of the current members, Joanne Wellenburn and Dennis Vandermeer, both submitted letters of interest, served a partial term, and are eligible for reappointment. So the motion is to reappoint Joanne to a 3-year term from January 2021 to December 2023. And the request is also to reappoint Dennis Vandermeer to a 3-year term, January 2021 through December 2023. We had 7 new applicants, and then we're going to stagger those terms. We did them in thirds. So some of the the incoming terms will be 3-year, 2-year, and 1 year. So we basically have several motions here to basically reappoint almost the entirety of this board.
Okay, so at this time, do we also need to determine of these individuals, which ones are going to be serving in the staggered terms?
Yes, we have 7 new applicants and 7 potential terms to fill. If you want to start with the reappointments and then go into the new ones, however you'd like to do the process.
Sure. Yeah, let's do that.
Okay.
So
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I was going to move to do the reappointments of Joanne and Dennis.
I will second that. Any discussion on the reappointments of those 2 individuals? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so the 7 new applicants, I'll just preface my comments by saying I don't think I have ever seen a more stellar lineup of applicants for board positions, and we've had some great boards over the years across Missoula County, but this is just phenomenal. I thought the folks and the qualifications that these folks all brought to the table.
Yeah, really, really impressive. So great job, Bryce and crew, with your outreach. I mean, it was, yes, it's incredible people. I'm really excited about what this board's going to be able to do.
Yeah, so Juanita, any
But I
thoughts on how to divvy these up? So we have 1 3-year term, 3 2 years, and 3 1 years.
And I was wondering if is Bryce even on the phone, or is anyone with the AIS on the meeting? No.
I don't see that Bryce is on. He did have full support of all of these candidates and felt like they'd be all a really good fit for this board.
Yeah, I honestly have no preference how this shakes down one way or the other. I guess in terms of, we've got one individual who would be angling for the longest term, which is the 3-year term. Thoughts there? I mean, one thought that comes to mind is David Brooks, who has a long institutional memory and experience.
Yep.
And so that would be one possibility that we could plug into the 3-year term, and beyond that,
I'm with you, Dave. So okay, yes, let's go with that and have David Brooks to the 3-year term. How about Kate Wilson? That was who we did yesterday, correct? Interview, yeah.
Yes, you had the applicant with her yesterday.
Andrew Skibo and oh my gosh, I'm forgetting names here. Is it John O'Bannon for the 2-year terms and then the remainder for the 1-year terms?
That sounds excellent. Did you get that, Kyla?
I did.
Okay, we will, so that is Juanita's motion, and I will not endeavor to repeat it, provided that you have it written down. I will second that motion. Any further discussion on the proposed new applicant appointees?
At this time, we're just identifying the elements.
Okay, I think someone's talking about something else out there. Seeing no additional comment, all in favor of the appointments?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we have an AIS board fully staffed.
Thanks, commissioners.
Thank you.
All right. So moving on, that dispenses with our action items today. We have a piece of correspondence. This is a letter of approval to HRC for the use of Emergency Solutions Grant funds at the following shelters: Poverello, YWCA, and Hope Rescue Mission. Who out there is wanting to speak to this?
We have Jim Morton with us.
Yeah, Jim, do you want to kick this off? Jim, you're muted if you're talking. Still muted, Jim. Up. Well, while we're waiting for Jim, is there anyone from YWCA or Hope Rescue Mission who would like to speak? or the Poverello?
Jim Hicks is on, I thought.
Yeah.
This is Cindy Weiss from the YWCA.
Hi, Cindy. Go ahead.
Hi.
Cindy.
I can speak to what the YWCA is doing with the Emergency Solutions Grant that is coming through HRC. This year we received 2 grants, emergency solutions grants. One was in April for $6,000, and it was enabled us to expand shelter services through the end of 2020. This was crucial because of the shelter-in-place order and the economic conditions. We had many more families who were unsheltered and homeless, and we needed funding to increase our capacity to rent motel rooms. And then in addition to that, so that expired at the end of the year. We actually spent it very early on in the first couple months. We also are receiving a $35,000 grant. We received it last year. We will have until March of 2022 to spend that down, and it will be essential funding for our new shelter facility at the Meadowlark, and we'll be able to use that for operations. So it's been essential funding, and Jim may be back on. I know that this is grant funding that needs to approval from the county commissioners.
Great. Thanks, Cindy. Jim, are you still out there? It looks like you're muted still.
To unmute, if Jim is on the phone, I think he can do, I believe it's *6.
There's also, I see Amy Allison Thompson from the POV is on.
Yeah, while we're waiting for Jim, Amy, do you want to go? And then Jim Hicks, if you're out there, you can speak also.
I am. Sorry.
Amy, do you want to start?
Oh,
Either way, I'm happy to go either way. If Jim, if you would like to speak, you're welcome to.
No, go ahead, Amy, please.
All right. So again, Jim was going to give an introduction about kind of an overview of the funds. So I can just give a little bit of information about what we're doing. Essentially, this most recent round of funding that Jim was bringing to you all was to, one of the portions of that was $25,000 to be allocated to our Johnson Street location for COVID mitigation. This specifically, just as a reminder for everyone, the Johnson Street location is really in response to COVID completely. In itself. So the Poverello Center reduced our beds from 175 beds down to 88 beds this spring as a result of COVID. And then this winter, starting November 1st through March 31st, opened our temporary winter shelter location. Thanks to the help of the county commissioners with funding for that, are operating that to ensure that as many people as possible can come inside. We are operating at full capacity at the Poverello Center. We are completely full every night. And at Johnson Street, what we're seeing is that we have served up to 98 people at this point, and we can serve up to 150. So our hope is that this is adequate for us to get through the rest of the winter, though the wet winter has been obviously very strange with the fall. It feels like fall some of these days. Anyhow, so these funds would be primarily for COVID mitigation. That would be around cleaning supplies and that kind of thing that are over and beyond what our expectations were for the budget of winter shelter initially. So that is what we'll be using those funds for.
This is Jim. Can you hear me?
yes.
Yeah, there you are.
Okay. Yeah, I had to get on the phone because for some reason my connection on the Teams, but you've already heard from the different shelters. The U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development has a requirement that for emergency solutions grant funds to be used by shelters, the county commissioners have to approve the use. And so we use emergency solutions grant in Missoula County for the 3 shelters, the Poverlo Y and Hope Rescue Mission, and then in Ravalli County for SAFE, which deals with domestic violence and sexual assault victims. So in those 2 counties, we asked the commissioners for acknowledgement and approval to use ESG funds for shelters. The other use of Emergency Solutions Grant would be for prevention of homelessness by a number of means, including paying rent and rent arrearages, and then assisting with providing housing stability, which is called rapid rehousing for those that are currently homeless. And so just for your information, with the $200 million that's been granted to the state for rent assistance, we're waiting for that to be implemented, because for Emergency Solutions Grant, all other resources have to be accessed. So for the last about 3 months or so, we've not been paying rents because we're prohibited, because the governor had a rent assistance and then the moratorium, and the moratorium has been extended. So just kind of a quick information for everyone that it does get very frustrating to advocates and clients and applicants in terms of accessing the rental assistance. So we're hopeful as the new governor gets his feet on the ground, and I know he's drinking from a fire hose, and gets the $200 million deployed, that will be helpful. But in the meantime, we are assisting the 3 shelters in Missoula County.
Thanks, Jim. That's good background. Jim Hicks, did you want to chime in here too?
No, just to say we're so grateful for what's happening out at the TSOS, and seeing the upward mobility of people, some good reports. And so just from our end, we're very thankful for the grants and the assistance that we're receiving.
Great. Juanita, any questions? This all sounds great, and I look forward to having this circulated for signature.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think Madison Donor has her hand raised.
Madison.
Hi, Commissioners. Yeah, I just have a question for Jim Hicks. I was just wondering what you guys would be using the grant for. I'm assuming it's for the temporary safe outdoor shelter. I was just curious because the POV and the YWCA went over what they were hoping to get the money for, and if you could just give a roundabout number of how much you're hoping to get from the grant.
Yeah, Madison, I'm sorry, I don't have that number in front of me, but that will be for staffing, for our 24-hour coverage of staffing out at the temporary safe outdoor space.
This is Jim Morton. Jim, I'll jump in. We at HRC have awarded an initial $45,000, and then we've requested an additional $50,000 from the State Department of Public Health and Human Services for the temporary safe outdoor space. So we hope to be using $95,000 in Emergency Solutions Grant through Jim's Hope Rescue Mission efforts out there.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jim, both Jims. So we will get this circulated via DocuSign and get it signed and off to where it needs to go. Thanks, Cindy, Jim, and Amy.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Keep up the good work.
Yes, thank you.
All right. So as everyone knows, the Montana State Legislature is in session as of this week. So we'll have a standing discussion item over the next few months related to the legislative session. Chris or anyone else, any updates here you'd like to share?
Hi, good morning, Commissioners. Chris is not on the call this morning. You're stuck with me. I don't have anything of note other than to say that we have slowly launched our legislative team machine that meets every morning. And just as a reminder, refresher of our process, we went through and do a report of all the bills that are up for hearing for the today, tomorrow, and the following day, to give ourselves enough time to ask staff for comment and input. And then we will be sending messages of support, generally not a whole lot of opposition so far, on anything that we've seen quite yet. To members of the Missoula delegation who, if they sit on the committee that the bill is up for hearing in front of, yeah, just a slow start to the session, and only 86 days left.
Yeah, and we will be on the edge of our seat every one of those days. So
I know you will. I know you will. And just a reminder, when we send messages on a particular bill, we'll be posting that as a comment on our county blog, which is linked on our website. So the public is available. It's that information is available for the public to check out. So that's it.
Great.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Allison Franz, any communication needs or updates?
Not today. Thank you.
Very good. Anything on the COVID front, Anne or anyone else?
I do not have any update on the COVID.
Juanita and Josh and I took a tour of the testing facility out on Flynn Lane yesterday, and good work to everyone with our city county health department who's been supporting that operation. It's quite the undertaking out there. So hats off to them.
Yeah.
And shout out to Rocky Mountain Labs for providing the medium, the desired medium.
Yes.
We're so fortunate to, be this close to the lab.
The medium that we learned was far superior to any of the other mediums that they've tried out on the market. So,
and we're also enjoying a slump in our infection cases, but we're told to gird ourselves because students are returning. So
gird away.
Gird away. Yes.
Girding our loins, as it were. So anyway, I think that about wraps everything up. Anything else that we need to address today? Okay, well, seeing nothing else, thanks everyone. Be safe and have a great day.
Yeah, thanks everyone.
Thank you.
Goodbye.